Try and get back over here. Just want to welcome everybody to Tech Talks. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Braden is monitoring the chat, and it can be lonely in there, Braden, right? So if you want to message him a warm hello or tell him where you're joining us from, that would be awesome. Really appreciate Braden for taking your comments and questions. If that's where he will live today. So today, you also get to hear from yours truly. I am Jane Osler, and we're going to explore the flip side of social media. This is kind of the backstage pass, or the part people don't get to see when they visit your page. It's the planning, preparation, and scheduling for posts that goes into what you ultimately scroll through on your phone, your computer, your laptop. And it's never too late to try this monthly challenge. Just go to Facebook and X and search EMSC. See what pops up. You can like, follow, and share pages, profiles, posts. Just explore what's out there from HRSA, from EIC, the EMSC Data Center. And I know a lot of you have really great EMSC state partnership pages for your state. I've been on a few of those, liked and followed your pages. They're really fun and great to look at. You have a lot of great content out there as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Do you ever feel like social media is kind of that unspoken part of your job description? Unless you've got a full marketing team dedicated to the cause, social media doesn't just happen. And it's something that all of us should be engaged in professionally. So if you have a very small staff like we do, or even if you're running the show by yourself, you might be considered kind of the accidental marketing person for your program. You could be doing something or everything from maintaining a website to creating social media. And you're also trying to stay engaged in other promotional efforts sometimes. I know the EDC during data collection periods, for example, will give you all kinds of things that we want you to promote for assessments and surveys. So if you are one of these folks, we definitely see you and we hear you. We know that a lot of managers have requested more information about how to organize social media. So today I'm going to discuss the project management and technical side of it with planning through MS Teams. Now, if you don't have MS Teams, the concepts that I'm going to share today can apply to other planning platforms with just a little bit of adjustment. So no worry there. MS Teams is a messaging app for your organization. So it connects people to the same workspace for ease of collaboration, for meetings, for file sharing, scheduling, messaging. Super easy to use. If you have Teams, you may have sent messages to coworkers, maybe scheduled some appointments, or you could maybe have taken part in different group threads or channels. Today, we're going to use some of this functionality, but I'm going to talk about the basic components of planning first. And then I'm going to show you how to find the Planner app in MS Teams that we use to manage our content. There's a few features in there like boards and schedulers that are really helpful to make things easy. And then within the boards feature, you can also create custom task cards that help with consistency in your planning for pretty much every post. So for example, if someone wants to help you or add things to the calendar or offer suggestions, they can follow all of the steps without needing a lot of training or explanation. It makes things really simple and easy. And then I'm going to show you how to schedule a post in Facebook Meta Business Suite. And if there's time, I'm going to show you how to do it in X as well. These are the two platforms that we chose because these are the ones that we're familiar with. But if you have other social media platforms to use for your state, by all means, this is a lot of translatable information. So let's go ahead and talk for just a minute about the bare bones or the basic concepts of planning. Most of us are familiar with a lot of these, but there are several different types of social media planning templates online from places like Hootsuite and Zoho and MailChimp. There's lots of blogs out there with great suggestions, but we created our own planning template that works best for us. It was free because we created it. And it encouraged you to just want to encourage you to find out what works best for you too. So keep that in mind. Let's start with the mission and vision. For social media planning, it can seem pretty obvious. We manage and maintain social media accounts basically to increase engagement, awareness, and the utility of the resources we're trying to provide. But where planning is concerned, the mission might be centered more on creating a custom workflow. So, to meet the needs of your program, think about your target audience and the continuous attention it takes to make social media a sustainable process, not just an end goal. Remember that social media is kind of this living, breathing organism that is ongoing and dynamic. It's not like other projects that you have a start and end point to. So consider talking to the folks in your program and think about why you want to make social media planning a priority. You can then kind of just create a mission statement from there. So most of us are familiar with goals and objectives, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. They should be created and support the mission, of course. There are lots of SMART goal generators online to help you in creating goals and objectives, but this is kind of the familiar space of who will do how much of what by when. So you might want to discuss roles and responsibilities for social media before creating goals and objectives. Thinking just about the size of your program, the type of support that you have. Think about that while you're creating these. In planning, resource allocation is the strategic process of determining how available resources, things like people, equipment, budget, and time, are best used to achieve specific goals or objectives. So if it's just you or two or three of you who are going to be doing this work, think about your day to day and how social media is going to fit into that. It's about resources and management. It's about timing and timelines. It's about content and collaboration. I'd mentioned before that our resources for doing social media can seem pretty small compared to places that have a dedicated marketing team. But we have found ways to include everyone on our team in the process. So, for example, the primary roles for social media planning belong to myself and to our amazing Kim Thompson to plan, prepare, and schedule the content. And for our workflow, we decided that we would have a planning meeting once a month. We would schedule posts ahead of time to occur 2 times a week. And then we assigned the rest of our team the task of interacting with our sites once a week, and then to be on the lookout for relevant content every day. And that's more of a passive process. So as things come up, they just look for content and they can add it to our planning calendar. So I'll show you what this looks like in MS Teams a little bit later. Implementation is just that. It's moving everything you have planned into a live space for broad consumption online. So this is about scheduling posts and watching the magic of interaction happen. It's at the same time, you might want to interact with other feeds as well. So when we think about social media, it's not one-sided. We want to look for connecting points to support others in the EMSC program or find EMSC shareable content that you can relay from your feed. There's lots of great stuff out there. We all interact with each other, and this is why the monthly challenge was so great to just go and visit other EMSC pages and profiles, see what's out there. It's a good excuse actually to justify playing on social media at work, and it can really help you to learn from what other managers and professional organizations that you collaborate with are doing. So also be aware that the EIIC Knowledge Management Group can help support you in so many ways with content creation and give you additional advice for success. Scroll over here. So speaking of success, a final component is evaluating whether or not your methods are working. Using social media analytics can help you to see whether or not your messages are reaching their intended audience, whether or not they're being shared with others, or if you're gaining new users. Analytics are super important. It's a great component of this work. So carve in the time for this, as it will help you to adjust your content or processes as needed. Does anybody have any questions? I know it was a brief overview of kind of the planning components, but does anybody have any questions about that? Pretty basic. So I'm going to go off road now for a minute, and I'm going to switch screens. So if you'll bear with me for just a second, we're going to go ahead and go into MS Teams now. I'm going to stop share here. And I'm going to show you a lot of the basic components of the channel that I want you to hang out in for a second here. I just need to exit out of this other screen, stop share. This has never happened to any one of you, has it? They're just about there. Okay. So here we have an MS Teams channel. This is our EDC NEADARC channel. We're still all NEADARCians at heart. And you can see that within this main channel, we do have a general area, our EDC favorites. In and amongst our team, we share movies, books, reviews, all kinds of fun things. We have internal updates that we share with one another. And then we also have our social media channel. Like most teams channel, there's kind of a menu bar up at the top for things like posts, for files. We have a social media content area up here where we, put different planning documents and those types of things. And we also have our social media schedule. So this social media schedule was created using an app within Teams called Planner. And I'm going to show you what this looks like. There is this small little plus sign up here that says add a tab at the very top of the dock here. I'm going to click on that. And it says it wants you to search for apps. And since I searched for Planner recently, Planner shows up. There's lots of other apps. You can click on this area here and see what apps are available to you within your organization. But I'm just going to click on Planner because this is what we use. So Planner in Teams has lots of different features. I'm not going to go over every single one of them today. But if you want to add the app to your menu up at the top, you just click on Save. And it'll ask you to create a new plan. So I'm going to click on that. And there's lots of different templates that they have available. You can click down on the bottom right-hand side here that says See All Templates if you want to review all of them. But I'm just going to click on the one that says Project Management because it's the one that we use. And this will look more familiar to you when you see ours. But this is basic project management. You can click on Use Template. You can create a name for it if you want right here. I'm just going to put demo. And then you can click on create and create your plan there. So it'll pop up, with some suggestions for things that you can do to develop strategies right here. These areas right here are called buckets. So these different columns, and each column you can create a different heading for. I'm going to scroll over to the right so that you can see where it says add new bucket. If you want to add a new planning bucket, you can just click on the bucket name, type in a name, and it'll add a new space for you here with tasks available. I am not going to use the demo, so I'm just going to remove this. And we'll go ahead and go over to our social media schedule. And you can see here the same similar buckets that I just showed you from the planning app at its origin. And these are really helpful and useful because you can customize them in a lot of different ways. The boards view right here kind of shows you what the buckets look like, but you also have a schedule view right here. So when you have a task and you schedule it or create it on a board, it'll show you a calendar view of what it looks like, which is really fantastic. You can get charts that show you different analytics. And if you're a premium user, you can use Timeline. We're not premium users over here. We've just got the basics. So I'm just going to focus on boards for now. So in our board for planning for social media, we have upcoming posts. And this board section is, or this bucket is for suggested topics, things that we want to maybe consider posting on our social media. We have active posts. This is kind of the transition point where we're actively working on a post. And then we have action items right here that kind of keep us on track during the month, and then completed posts that we move these cards over from. Each one of these is, we call them a card. I don't know if that's the official name for it, Kim, but we call them cards. So again, you can add more buckets if you want to add more buckets, or you can just leave whatever you want that's familiar to you. So you'll notice under here, from each of the buckets, there are tasks areas. So we have at the EMSC Data Center, we manage 4 social media sites. So, or 4 social media pages or profiles. We have 2 in X and we have 2 in Facebook. So we, for the EMSC Data Center social media, have a Facebook and an X page. And then for our PEDS Ready social media, this is for the MPRP assessment and ED, pediatric readiness, those types of things. We manage those for both Facebook and X. So what I want to talk about first is a template card. Now, this is something that you can create for yourself. And the template card keeps everything organized so that anybody who comes in here and offers up content can follow the same checklist of instructions and check it off and make sure that each component is done. It doesn't require a ton of training. It doesn't require a ton of knowledge of how to do it. The number one thing I want you to remember about a template card is that it does need to be copied so that you don't delete it. You want to copy a template card and add to it, not take it away. So we have a couple of different template cards. One right here is for our team. If our team has topics that they want to suggest or content they want to suggest, then they can come in here to this template and they can follow the checklist down below and place that in this bucket so that we can see things. I'm going to show you what this looks like from one that Andrea had sent to us. She's always on the lookout for great publications. And you see each template card has different components. So right here at the top, this is her suggestion. This is a publication about pediatric emergency medical services activations involving naloxone. So she will change the name of that when she puts it in here. She's assigned it. We can assign it to any member of our team, but she assigned it to Kim. And in this space, we have labels. You can pick different colors. There's a whole slew of colors right here that you can pick from and create a label. We have labels that say EDC so that we know that it's coming, or this particular post would be really good for the EMSC Data Center Facebook page or X page. Sometimes we would change that label. Maybe we only want it to go to our PEDS Ready Facebook or X accounts. And if it's, like Emily Lemiska says, if it's evergreen, meaning that it's generalizable content for kind of both or it's kind of a mainstay, then we can label it as both. But here, Andrea's suggestion, she created it for the EDC. So you also notice these sections right here that say this is the bucket that it's in. It's an upcoming post over here. We haven't started progress on it yet because this is still just a suggestion. It's a medium priority. There's drop-down menus for each of these, but if we wanted to really make it urgent, we could mark it urgent. We don't really need a start time per se, but we do like to put a due date. Right here, it's due anytime, so we can fit it into the schedule as needed. And then up here, this means it does not repeat. We're not going to need to repeat this task or repeat this post. So what Andrea will do, she'll come in here and, she'll look at these sections. We haven't assigned a creator to it yet, but she does have a link to where it's located that she wants to share. So she puts that in for me and Kim. And then up here, there's a blurb draft or content to base the blurb on. A social media blurb is basically the pitch or the message that you're wanting to send to people. It's usually really short, and we want to make sure that it's concrete, but also attractive enough so that people want to click on your content. So she's included, from the publication, objectives, methods, results, and conclusions so that Kim and I can review it. We can look at this content and we can kind of think about how we want to create a blurb from this. She's also gone in here and she's checked off different things that she knows she needs to get done on this card. So she's added a topic, she's added a label, she's added a due date if it's applicable, she's added content to the notes section, And then right here, we say stop here because Kim and I will complete the rest of the steps later. So this is where they stop on the checklist. So if there are any comments or questions, by all means, feel free to throw them out there. But this is the basic structure of a template and a content card. So Andrea just came in here. She copied this template right here. She recreated it new and put it in this bucket so that Kim and I can pull from the content here for upcoming posts. So now, if we wanted to move this
Jane,
over,
just so you know, you've got like 9 minutes left.
super. Thanks so much, Kim. So if we wanted to move this content over, all we have to do is move it over to the active posts place. I'm just going to move it back over here because we haven't done it yet. So for example, here's another publication, and we've actually taken this information, and now from this stopping point, we've renamed the card with the date. So come up here, we rename the card, and we just put 4-3. We want to post this on April 3rd. And we've assigned it to Kim. We've labeled it the EDC. It's a different publication than what I showed you before, I think. And we have narrowed down the blurb content with the link. So virtual EMS tailored NRP based educational curriculum, improving neonatal resuscitation knowledge. And then you learn more at that link. So now we wanted to add images to the folder using a pre-made publication image that Andrea made, which is fantastic to use. You can add an attachment here. And if you keep these in your team's files, then you'll always know where they are. You can use and reuse them. Sometimes it's challenging to find free content, so we like to keep our free content in here that we've used before. I'm just going to cancel out of that, but what it does is it'll attach the image right here. If you want to show it on the card in the bucket, then you can show it on there. And this is just a great way to kind of reuse that image over and over again for different publications. And now you can see what that image looks like on the card. So another example right here, this is just a demo. It's a Tech Talk demonstration. I've come up here, I've labeled this, I've assigned it to myself, labeled it here for Peds Ready, not started. Once it's in this area, if I'm getting ready and I'm working on it in progress, then I can click on in progress so that people know I'm working on it. Come down here and you can add all of these things to the checklist. Once it's ready to schedule online, I then pass the baton over to Kim and I'll take my assignment, I'll click off of it and I'll click on Kim right here. So she gets an alert knowing that it's ready to post. So it seems a little bit, kind of challenging sometimes. Think, gosh, this seems like, a lot of planning that goes into it. It really does become quick and effective, especially if you can only meet once a month to go over what content you want to have in, say, your calendar for upcoming events and things like that. This template card is much more simple. This is just for me and Kim. If we don't have anything in the upcoming post bucket, but we have things we want to just start, then we just take off the extra steps, have a very quick, process, change the progress, change all of the things on the card. So are there any questions about cards before I move over to how to post these and schedule these? Okay, if you do, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to use this demonstration really quick to just kind of show you what this looks like. So once we're here, I go ahead and I just simply copy this. And now I'm going to go over to our Peds Ready X account. This is our profile, and I'm going to go up to home. And to schedule this, I'm going to go ahead and just paste the content that we already created. I know I'm characters over. I'd have to adjust this for sure. I'm just going to adjust this right here. So say, take the MPRP, open assessment. Twitter or X is really good about showing you when you're over. And I'm going to click on this small little icon. You can see it pops up. It says schedule. And I'm going to go ahead and I can schedule this post. It'll give me options for the date. It'll give me options for the hour, for the minute, clear down to the minute time. and I can confirm it, but I just realized that I really do need to add that picture that I used here. So now you can see what the full post looks like. And I go back to schedule. And if I wanted to post on April 1st, 12:25 p.m., I can go ahead and do that, or I can come here and change the date. And then I'll go ahead and confirm. So now this will send, you can see at the top, it says will send on Tuesday, April 1st, 2025 at 12:25 p.m. So if I don't want to do that, I can go ahead and I'll delete this post a little bit later, but or I may keep it. We'll see. The open assessment is open, but it will post on the day and time that you schedule it. So the reason it's so great to know when it's going to go out and when it's going to post is because when you're in this schedule view and you've done it, you come in here, I come right here and I say, okay, now this is complete. Then I come into the schedule view and I see on April 1st, this is March, I see on April 1st that, or on April 3rd, no, that's a different one, that it's in progress, like it's ready to go on April 1st. So it kind of keeps track from a calendar view and also from a schedule view, which is really great. Let's try really quickly while I have just a few more minutes. We'll try an EDC one. I'm just going to do this publication for today. Blurb draft content, you go ahead and you copy this. You're going to go ahead and go into Facebook now. This is our EDC page, and you're going to want to scroll down on the left-hand side to the Meta Business Suite and click on that. And then you're going to click on the left-hand side on Planner as well. Now that post was for today. That could go out. And so I'm just going to click on Schedule. And Facebook will suggest days and times where your audience is most active. And so you can choose those times. You can choose a different time if you're trying to time it against another post or somebody else sharing something. That's totally fine. I can go ahead and save this for 6 p.m. And I'm going to come up here and paste in that text that I had in there. And when I'm ready, I can add a photo. In the interest of time, I'm not going to do that, but you have your privacy settings and then you click on schedule. And just like X, it'll schedule at the time that you want it to schedule for. So I hope that gives you kind of just a brief overview of what we're looking at when it comes to planning social media and team. It does take a little bit of practice and coordination, but once you get into a workflow and something that works for you, the good news is that you can pick it up at any time and have it be something that really works well. In between the times you meet, you'll find so many different things that are out there online, and you'll want to be able to maximize your ability to share content as much as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just one more time. Are there any questions out there from anyone about how we're doing this? Okay. Well, if you do want more information about how to create EMSC approved content, again, this is just a reminder that our knowledge management group from the EISC is always available to kind of give you suggestions or, show you where to get the greatest content. Of course, EMSC affiliated social media sites have lots of great information that stream down from HRSA, from resources, from data and analytics and those types of things that come through the EMSC data center feed. So get out there, play, have fun, enjoy. And if you do have any, content or questions or, things related to planning, by all means, you know where we live and you can reach out to us. And if you have other suggestions for things you want to learn about for Tech Talks, things that have to do with the MSC projects, analyzing data, presenting, we all do presentations, PowerPoints, marketing or communications, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you and hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, everyone.